Hey everyone, it is 2021. Welcome to a new year and hopefully some new grandparenting goals and challenges. We want to start talking about the grandparenting ABCs. So today we'll be talking about A. And what do we have for the letter A? One of my favorite words, and it's one of those that can give us a little bit of a hard time once in a while because it requires that we be a little bit introspective and examine our hearts and our minds and our behaviors. But the word for grandparenting, A stands for accountability. And that is probably one of the greatest lessons we learn in life. And it's one of the greatest lessons we can teach our grandchildren, well, starting with our children and then our grandchildren, is how to be accountable, how to be a person that takes responsibility for their own behavior in not only family circumstances, but also, in our community at large. Now, why is that difficult? Because sometimes we just want to blame others for things that don't go quite the way we plan. And children are great at this. When you've got a young child, they will sometimes blame everybody from the dog to the next door neighbor for something that's gone wrong. They didn't do it. But we do a great disservice to our children and our grandchildren if we don't teach them to be accountable and responsible for their own behaviors. So as you're thinking about your life and how personal accountability has affected you, I want you to think about 2 or 3 things. Think about what you learned from the mistakes you made. I'm a great believer that we do have to make some mistakes. That's one of the best ways human beings learn. We make a mistake, we figure it out, and we correct our actions and hopefully don't repeat too often so that we have to keep learning the same lesson over and over. Have you made great achievements in your life because you learned to be accountable and you took responsibility and you kept working towards something and you ultimately achieved, you got that good grade in school, or you had a business success or a personal success of some kind. Every human being needs that feeling, and we help our children and grandchildren when we teach them, that there are rewards from being accountable. Being accountable helps us stay active and engaged in both personal and business lives. You're just willing to do more things if you're accountable. You're not hiding out afraid, or you're not angry and blaming the world for your troubles and separating yourself from people. So accountability is just a huge lesson in life. What are some of the benefits of the accountability mindset? I think there's more joy. Why? Because you've become comfortable with a certain mode of behavior, and you're willing to say, whoops, if I made a mistake, I can apologize, I can fix it, I can change my behavior. And so it doesn't take away the joy of interacting with other people. You're not looking for other people to be to blame for your problems. You just decide, if I have a problem, I also have the power to fix that problem. That is huge. So you have more joy. Our self-esteem is better when we're accountable. Again, because we discover in the process of learning accountability that we do have choices to make. And some of those choices will make us happy, others will make us unhappy. And if we learn from mistakes, we will choose to do things that will keep us on the upswing in life. We can take pride in our work. If you're accountable and you decide to set goals and try new things and learn new skills, there's a reward, the pride of accomplishment when you do those things. We've learned that in our lives, and our children and our grandchildren need that same experience to be a happy human being. We learn to make better choices as we take more accountability and responsibility for who we are and what we do. We live more productively and actively. How do you teach this to our children and our grandchildren? Well, it's of course, ideally, we start young. And I think every new parent has to go through the learning process right along with their children. But the best way for anybody, whatever age, to learn accountability is to have consequences for their actions. Those consequences can vary a lot. It may be as simple as taking away a key privilege, taking away access to a tablet or a telephone, anything that gets the attention of the person that we're trying to teach that life skill to, and say, no, what you did was wrong, and you need to think it over and change course and take responsibility for your own behavior. That is the best teaching tool. So as we're working with our grandchildren, getting into disciplining or correcting grandchildren is a tricky area, and we'll talk more in depth about that at another time. But we can do those same things in our homes. If a grandchild is visiting and they're misbehaving, turn off the video. Let them sit for 5 minutes and they're not watching the entertainment. It's simple. We don't have to be harsh. We just have to say, no, what you're doing is not acceptable, and we need a little change here right now. And when you change, your results will change. That's how you teach accountability. People learn that they get a different result when they take a different course of action. So our Grandparenting A to Z, today, our ABCs, we're starting with A, and A stands for accountability. Thank you for tuning in to our videos, for the comments, for joining us in the great journey of Grandparenting A to Z. We hope to see lots of you in the new year. We have lots of great plans and exciting things coming up in the next 12 months, and we want you to be along for the journey. So enjoy your grandparenting and be grand.